Among all of my favorite characters, there are definitely a handful that I could just sit here for minutes, hours, days, weeks, years, and just, to be honest, forever, that I can talk about. And I do believe that there is a character inside of One Piece that I can overanalyze and try to pinpoint everything with his character. And that character is Sanji. So, in today's video, I am going to sit here and overanalyze Sanji. So, strap in, because I'm about to get real in depth with this video. But before I jump into the video, if you guys do enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, as I do post content like this regularly, and to be honest, this is a win-win. You guys show me love and support, and I give back to you in the form of videos. Whether it's One Piece, other anime, or just fiction in general, in due time I'm covering it, so be there when I go there. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so why don't we jump into me overanalyzing Sanji. Now, how I'm going to begin this video is by going over who Sanji is as a character and why he acts the way he does. Now, it is no secret that Sanji is somebody that relies upon his morals no matter what, and those morals and just the things that he does was built by the two people that he loved the most as a child, his mother and Zeph. Now, the first thing I do want to point out is that Sanji is somebody that will hear something and will remember it no matter what. Even though sometimes he may act like he doesn't remember things, I do feel like Sanji is somebody that if you told him something, or when he was a kid at least, when you told him not to do something and he actually respected you, he would listen. This comes down to who Sanji loves and respects. This is how we know from a very young age he did not respect Zeph, as Zeph told him to stop cooking, but he didn't care. This is something that I wanted to bring up, as a lot of people have this thing where they thought Sanji loved Zeph at a very young age, and I feel like it was just more of him wanting to be accepted by his father. But as we all saw, Zeph didn't want to accept him, and Sanji did swallow that pill. Even though he was crying because he is a child and his father basically told him that he doesn't want anything to do with him, Sanji was like, okay, that's fine. And so when he then met Zeph, somebody who Sanji saw that cared for him, that is why he picked up on all of his lessons and will rather die than go against his lessons. See, as a character, Sanji is somebody that takes lessons or just things that people tell him to heart. He isn't somebody that is going to sit there and just be like, oh, okay, I respect you, but I'm just not going to listen to what you're saying. Sanji is somebody that will sit there and will be like, okay, that is a lesson that I need to learn, and I will learn it and become better through it. I will learn everything that you told me because I actually respect you and want to be deemed perfect, or just somebody that you can accept in your eyes. The reason this is actually due to his real father, Judge. As Judge actually never saw Sanji as somebody that's even worth looking upon, Sanji just wanted to do everything so that the people that love and respect him actually do love and respect him and actually do pay attention to him. You could say that this is some sort of attention seeking, or just something that trauma has built up for Sanji. Now, what I said can be misconstrued. I'm not saying that Sanji is going to go around for everybody that he loves and tries to be the perfect person for them. Sanji is somebody that naturally has flaws just like anybody else, but what Sanji will do is he will try his hardest to do the best for the people that he loves and that show that they love him. You see, you can see this with all the people that are tied to Sanji. Sanji for Zeph, Sora and Luffy has gone out of his way to do many things, and he's even tried to go above and beyond. Now, at the exact same time, this also does come around due to his low self-esteem, and that does obviously tie in to him doing everything in his power just to make them happy. This is a massive focal point in the story, as we know, Sanji had a very low self-esteem up until Whole Cake Island, and then past that point, Sanji has been building up to them being that person that will then start doing things for himself. Now, it's not to say that Sanji didn't do things for himself before, it's just that if somebody else that he did love and respect was doing something, he wouldn't mind putting himself to the side. And in my opinion, I do believe that this is not him submitting inferiority to that person. that is just him going above and beyond and being like, okay, this person technically does me more, so I'm going to go out of my way for this person. And I really do feel like a lot of the community have dragged it in another direction and tried to say that Sanji just didn't care about his whole life. Sanji did care. It's just the fact that Sanji, at basically a moment's notice, if he did love and respect you, he would be like, okay, you know what, I do feel like they are more deserving of it. It's sort of like this hidden contract that Sanji has inside of him. It's like he feels like he's indebted to people that come along and do extremely good things for him or free him from the shackles of his previous shackles. For instance, you could say that Zeph technically did free him from Sora's, but Sora was already dead and things have already happened. It was technically Zeph then putting it on Sanji in a metaphorical way, and then Luffy then taking it off but then placing it on him, but in Whole Cake Island removing them, allowing Sanji to just be his own person. The Wano anime actually just portrays this extremely well, with obviously Zeph and then showing Luffy and then obviously his helmet breaking. That is the perfect representation of what is happening. And so then when you then move into Sanji's morals and why he is the way he is, it's mainly due to just Sanji being around a lot of men when he was growing up. And so every single time he see a woman, he'd see the men in front of him do extremely perverted things, and then he'll grow up thinking the exact same way. But at the exact same time, Sanji would also respect women as Zeph taught him to respect women, and that is why Sanji will never hit a woman. Sanji is a gentleman, but the thing is that from a very young age, well, since he joined the Baratie, he is then seen those gentlemen like men go on to then perv onto women. And I feel like this is something that a lot of people do miss of his character. Sanji naturally probably wouldn't even be this way, he'd be a little bit different, but when it comes down to his upbringing, when he sees people around him that he does love and respect, he kind of does imitate them. Not exactly, but he will take what they are doing and kind of use it on himself, kind of the exact same way how he tries to imitate Zeph a little bit, if you haven't noticed. It's also the exact same reason why Sanji at a very young age started smoking cigarettes. He wanted to be like the men around him, and that is something that a lot of people actually don't talk about when it comes down to Sanji. There are many things that if you just look a little bit deeper with his character, you start to see many things that can just tell you that at a very young age, Judge's sort of just belittling of Sanji and then him obviously then getting it from his mother, you can then also see why he likes women a little bit more than men. Sanji can then see women as people that can comfort him and people that can naturally just understand him a little bit more than men. You have to think about it. The two people at a very young age that did take sympathy and did actually love him were women. Reiju and Sora were the only two people inside of Germa that even paid attention to him until he then moved to Baratie, and that is where Sanji obviously then learned how to respect men properly and obviously be more like a gentleman. Now, when Sanji joins the Straw Hats, this is where his level of thinking from people then obviously expands to his crew and how he then views them. Now, one thing I did want to point out is how he views other women, and then how he views the women on the crew, and then just Nami in general. The reason I wanted to overanalyze this is because I find it pretty funny how Sanji, no matter what, will always find a spot to glaze Nami. Doesn't matter who he's with. Doesn't matter if he's with somebody that genuinely wants to be with him, he will always then run back to Nami. Now, at first I thought it was some sort of resemblance to Sora, but we haven't seen Sora act the exact same way Nami does. Meaning that there is something about Nami that, I mean, it's in the Vinsmoke blood for them to just naturally thirst after her, but there is something about Nami that grabs Sanji. And what I think it is how she portrays herself. The reason I don't say it's looks wise is because we've seen Sanji literally say that he wants to meet a mermaid, and then when he meets the mermaid princess, he obviously fawns over her but then goes straight back to Nami. Even with his interactions with Robin, he always comments on how smart she is or just something else, But when it comes down to Nami, there is a different type of glaze that goes on, and that glaze, in my opinion, is pretty funny, and I do find it nice between the two, as having the two connected in this way really does show their dynamic, as Sanji is a actual prince, while everybody, well, not everybody, but people who see Nami see her as this princess archetype. It really is kind of fascinating how Sanji, an actual prince, will see other princesses. He will get head over heels, but then he'll go right back to Nami, who, in my opinion, is far from a princess. Yet whenever the Vinsmokes and Sanji see her, they dream about her as this sort of dreamy princess person. And as I said before, I think it's due to the way she carries herself. You see, Sanji is somebody that is built for being a gentleman, but Nami is somebody that is very conniving and will do things for herself, but also then has the respect and the soft side for many different things. And I think this is something that when she holds herself, you can see that there is something different about Nami that will grab a prince. You see, all these type of princes have this sort of liking to a sort of rebellious girl, but a girl that has a soft side. And I think this is where Sanji has this natural love for Nami. And despite Sanji being this sort of gentleman archetype where he has to be the guy that's always protecting them, funnily enough, I do think that the dynamic that Sanji will ultimately end up with is Sanji being the one that's more in love with the person and will do more of the womanly chores than doing the manly stuff. Like, obviously, I think Sanji would always protect his woman, but I think Sanji would be more on the, oh, I don't mind staying home and cooking, or just doing things that seem more feminine. And that also comes with Sanji being way more head over heels for the woman that he would ultimately fall in love with. That is why, even though I do believe that Pudding and Sanji could have been a future thing, I think that Sanji ending up with somebody that has the archetype like Nami is far more plausible, and that is something that I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about when it comes down to Sanji. I feel like Sanji naturally inside of a relationship will do more of the feminine things, and then obviously he will have his moments where he protects them. But when it comes down to just cooking, cleaning, and just doing all those other things, I feel like Sanji would be the type of person to just go out and do it himself. And I feel like this is something that Oda is trying to convey. Even though Sanji is a prince, he's going to find his princess, and she is going to stay that princess. The princess that doesn't really have to do anything, and the prince will run around to do everything for her, while she'll obviously have her moments where she does her thing. I really do think that Sanji's partner by the end of the series will be sort of strong, and I do believe that they will not be a damsel in distress. Even though we've seen it a few times throughout the story, I don't think the woman that Sanji is going to end up with in the end is going to be a damsel in distress. Instead, she will be somebody that can obviously do things herself, like I've said before. Now, talking about love, we're gonna have to move on to Sanji's powers. Now, I feel like Sanji and the way his passion fuses into his character is like a very, very nice circle. Sanji's whole character is tied to love and passion, and I feel like the stronger Sanji's passion gets over time, the stronger he will get over time. I think the more he has to fight against his Germa sort of programming, that even though it is technically been rooted out of him, I still feel like there is this sort of thing in the back of his head where it could be there. I feel like what he is trying to do is go above and beyond with his passion and his love for everything to then surpass it and then grow stronger and stronger. You see, people like Luffy and Zoro can get stronger through natural means and whatnot, but I do believe that the core element of who Sanji is his love and his passion. So what makes him stronger over time is his love and his passion for things. His love and his passion is tied to his will, and I'm not going to sit here and go over all these Conquest Haki talks for like the 20th time since I've done a lot of videos on it, but what I'm here to say is that I do believe as the story goes on, he then becomes stronger. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that every arc that Sanji has had to put his morals on the line, he has gotten a power up. Think about it. When he went to Annie's lobby and he was beaten up by Caulifla, what happened? He said that he can never hit a woman, and that is him relying upon his morals and letting his passion burn when against Jabra. Then when he's going against Queen, he then relied once more on his morals and then allowed his passion to burn. That right there is what I think is key to Sanji, and I feel like him sticking to his morals and then allowing his passion to fuel him to then obviously back up those morals, that is where Sanji's true power comes from. Yes, Sanji can obviously train as hard as he wants, but I do believe that Sanji's power does come from his passion. Sanji has said that his passion burns hotter than ever, and obviously no flame can match it, and I actually do believe that. By the end of the story, we will see Sanji as somebody that is extremely strong, mainly due to his passion. And another thing I do want to comment on is people wanting Sanji to use his hands or ever hit a woman. The time Sanji ever uses his hands or tries to hit a woman for real, that is what I believe all talks of him ever getting Conqueror's Haki or just him ever being one of the strongest goes out the window. Sanji is somebody that relies upon his morals and will never go against his morals. That is who Sanji is as a character. In my eyes, yes, you can say that Sanji is a bit of a pervert and does many different things, but at the end of the day, Sanji is what he deems as a gentleman and will forever rely upon those morals, and the second he breaks those morals, that is when he is not Sanji, and we saw that in Wano. Sanji had a little mental breakdown on the battlefield because he thought he hit a woman. That is where you know that that is how you actually break Sanji. Sanji can no longer be Sanji when he goes against his morals, and that is why I do believe that is who Sanji is. Sanji is a character of morals, and through his morals he allows his passion to burn hot, and by the end of the story I do believe that Sanji is somebody that will ultimately be known as one of the most passionate people, and his passion will allow him to rise to one of those top spots. And ultimately that is why in truth Zeph never broke Sanji. You see, the reason Zeph never ever broke Sanji was because Zeph never ever broke Sanji morally. He never did. He may have shattered his confidence a little bit and basically said that you're nothing, but in the end Sanji was still Sanji because he had those morals that he had obviously picked up from his mother, and then he gained some even more later. Sanji is somebody that without his morals, as I've said, isn't Sanji, but Zeph wasn't able to do that, meaning that for the whole time that Zeph knew Sanji, Sanji was still Sanji, and Sanji wasn't going to change, and Zeph actually never did it. The only thing he did was put him down a little bit and make him have confidence issues. That is about it. But Sanji has always been Sanji until that one point in Wano where he thought he had done something, but that wasn't the case because Sanji will never ever defect from being Sanji. Sanji is somebody that will stick to his morals no matter what and will always allow his passion to burn. But with that being said, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoy it, as I did enjoy making it, as I can waffle about Sanji forever. Believe it or not, I didn't have a script for this because I'm waiting for the chapter to drop, and there's a video I'm probably going to drop tomorrow. So yeah, expect the chapter review on Friday because I will be on that. And yeah, so be there when I go there. I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you all. Goodbye.